So instead, if we're reverting back to this Genesis 3 way of operating, these are sort of the effects that we have when we try and build a church and tithing in the in an old construct. It creates financial classes. It weakens plural eldership, suppresses every member participation. It divides the church into factions, elevates leaders above brethren, trains leaders to be served, promotes singular pastor leadership, funds spectator meetings, encourages institutional loyalty, undermines "you are all my brothers." So God's design is Christ as head, you're all brothers, plural elders, every member function, voluntary generosity, one church in the city, mutual care and edification. The system produces clergy-laity divide, leaders above the brethren, leadership as position, being served rather than serving, spectator meetings, financial dependence on the system, institutional loyalty, factional Christianity, suppressed body ministry. Real church, real ecclesia, is what ecclesia means in Greek. It doesn't have a pokey leader sticking up from all that. Ecclesia is a peer word. And 1 Corinthians 12 are our instructions. Yeah, I know Pentecostals and Charismatics do practice some measure of the first variety, first diverse of gifts and being led, and where anybody in the congregation can be said, even from day one, that they're a believer. The Holy Spirit could have baptized them in the Spirit and be telling them, you're on now. So we contribute either supernatural gifts that no human can do, or divinely empowered, revelations that have come through maybe reading a verse that week, maybe prayers, prayer burden that is current. What else? A praise song. These are all things that the Holy Spirit might get us doing. But this leads to an expectation and excitement and a hunger to hear what ministries have to say, not just one pastor. There's 14 different ministries in 3 lists written by Paul. One of them is leader, which implies then, there are leaders in different subjects and skills in the Spirit and grace in the Spirit. We have no idea what this looks like, really, apart from conferences. Because not one of us runs the church properly. They're all run by a solo leader, as we learned in the world system under Satan and other angels, and its might and power. Instead, what Jesus taught and modelled was Melchizedek. I only do what I see the Father doing. And of course it works. If we've got this ability to see in the Spirit and be sensitive, and a lot of us have experienced this in the smaller ways of the individual contributions, which is the first diverse, then that leads through to the second diverse. If we're skilled at the first diverse, then we can begin ministering. We're worthy ministers. At the moment, people go to seminary and they're taught how you run a solo ministry operation according to might is right. It's all worldly. It's fleshly. This is a Melchizedek order. This is a new priesthood that Jesus modeled coming out of Jordan. So giving is in this context. The other thing I wanted to say, really important, is the other thing that is the key foundational standpoint is our own testimony. It's these people walking around saying they're apostles. What Peter and John's and James's testimony was that they had sent the God of heaven in human form to his death by not standing up and denying him instead. They were restored from that. Probably the worst. Oh, is that the worst crime? Is there any worse crime? They've been with him 42 months. The rest of Jews, okay, it's bad news, but these guys had been his disciples. And they had committed this man to crucifixion. And they were saved out of that. That's their testimony in 1 John 1. That's the testimony that they saw at last how utterly Genesis 3 was still gripping them. And now they realize what Jesus had come for. Each of us have to learn that, and it's called Romans 7. It is not a doctrine, as these ridiculous evangelicals say, or other charismatics say, in their lightweight, fluffy thing. This is the root. This is the rock upon which we now build. The rock is the knowledge of Jesus Christ himself in us, as us, grounding us. That's the gospel, and that's what 1 John 1's about. The fluffy, lightweight days of utter ridiculousness. This will affect our praise. It will affect our worship. We will know we've been set free, that this Jesus lives. And we will tell people freely, not be yanked up, cranked up each week by this pastor figure, who probably doesn't model it himself anyway. Oh, you must evangelize. You must evangelize. Pump, pump, pump. If you're free, if you know the gospel works, what Jesus himself said, abide, if you abide in my word, you will truly be my disciples. If you see it right through, don't fizzle out your churches halfway through when it gets tough. If you really abide in me, then you will know the truth. You will know the truth. The truth of the depths of hell and the truth of the depths of glory. And then that truth will set you free. And that's what will drive you to give. You want everybody to be free. You don't want to be some poncy person in a Catholic garb going around a city revered by people. Oh, they're not so revered now. But you know what I'm saying? It's not that. It's becoming normal again. There is only one source of life, which is God. Secularism is total rubbish. Saying it's, describing religion as some peripheral activity. The only reality on earth is God, and we've got to know him. If we know him, we can be normal. And that's what we're preaching. The rock, not building on sand anymore. This is the rock that withstands everything's chucked at us. Why? Because the devil has a legal understanding in the throne room. He only has power upon the lie and delusion of Genesis 3. Outside of that, he's got no power or legislative, no legal standing at all. Jesus stripped him anyway as well. All power and everything. But not in our flesh, by coming into the revelation of Jesus in us as us. That's where we break the former legal bind on us.